Buy with confidence. It's the Triple J Advantage. 1 year maintenance, 1 year tire and rim protection, key replacement, and $700 coupon book with every new vehicle purchase. Only at Triple J. Customers first.
All right, welcome everybody to another star-studded version of Cruising with KUAM. I'm Jason Salas, and you know, when you work at KUAM and you document our island's rich history, you are KUAM for life. And we got a member of the family here, longtime anchorman, sports journalist, and all-around good guy, Shawn Gumataotao, who's been a very, very good friend for a lot of years. Welcome, how's the day?
My first time on Cruising with KUAM, and the power of the technology, I'm here.
Okay, well, technically, you know, because we're both old school journalists, we believe in transparency, and this is your second time on Cruising with KUAM. Because full disclosure, we actually taped this episode of Cruising with KUAM yesterday. The GoPro had a mind of its own.
What you just saw, or what you're seeing now, is an absolute jump cut.
Yeah, but the vehicle that we're in right now, I mean, this is top of the line right now. There is amazing technology in this, and we, Shawn, our friends at Triple J, have told me that we are actually the first people outside of Triple J staff to actually try the 2020 Mazda 3, and this thing is loaded with tech.
Hey, thank you, Triple J, for your generosity and getting to ride in this nice ride.
Yeah, this thing, man, it feels like we're floating on air right now. As we pick you up outside of the courthouse in your current job, but let's go ahead and start by talking about your time at KUAM. You know,
sure.
you came over after coming back from college, where you went to in the States, and you have a psychology degree of all things.
Yes, little known.
I have a marketing degree. I never took a journalism class either.
Hey, but I had a news director that said some of the best journalists are those who didn't study communications or journalism.
That's true.
They had such a broad perspective. In fact, I tell my communication students at UOG that exact same thing. So they're not like thinking, oh, I have to be a journalism major or communications major to be a really great journalist.
Okay, and I don't know if this person coming on the wrong side of the road actually took a driving class before, but you know.
Again, one way is a sign is kind of I guess we're kind of forgetting the direction.
Yeah, so we are.
Welcome to Guam.
Yeah, this is Cruising with KUAM. All of this happens, you know, in real time, more or less. So you came to KUAM, and then it's funny because people say, there's another one.
Yeah.
People say all the time that, especially people that are in college now, as they say, you know, I grew up watching Jason and Sabrina do the news for all those years. But for so many Guamanians, including myself, it was Bree and Shawn prior to that for so many years and everything. And you guys were such a good team together. You guys had such good chemistry. Like, what was that like to not only step away from KUAM and embark upon a new career, but to actually leave your on-air partner?
Yeah, well, first off, to say that we've known each other now because of this relationship for 20 years. And so it tells you that even though at the time when I was on, it was such a different time. I think most people, including my own family, were saying they were watching at 6, and to believe it or not, having to leave. I mean, I probably had a little separation anxiety because Sabrina is one of my good friends. And my family had separation anxiety because they were just so used to being KUAM kids or being at every function with the KUAM family. And that's I think when I look back at it, that was an important part of it. Going into a new role, and especially in government, which just this year I celebrated, you know, with my continued service in the judicial branch, 10 years in government service. So,
very nice. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's almost been 2 entire decades since you
started this whole
since you did your last show as an anchor.
Yeah, you know, in fact, it was that last show, 2003. It was right before my birthday, so I knew it was in February, and so I knew, or January, late January. And yeah, it just seemed like it. But I tell you though, a lot has changed, and the island has changed. So I've again been a privilege to be part of that history, which is so important. I think people miss that nowadays, and it's what we do here at the judiciary, but also what you guys do at KUAM.
Do you remember your last show? Because I do. Because we kind of schemed. We took you out to lunch that day.
I know.
We gave you a stopwatch. We had it engraved, and you actually shed a few tears on camera. I remember.
Oh man,
that.
I've seen
more
other
than
ones.
a few.
I've seen some since, and I would say. I mean, it's a tough one when you got to walk away from something that you like to and love to do, your friends, and then you meet new friends and family. But I would tell you that, for the record, nothing has changed in that time. I still want to go to KUAM for whatever reason. It's like I hadn't left. it's like all I did was just go home for lunch or something.
Oh, the inside jokes and the insults are flying. Let me tell you guys.
And nothing has changed, and the friendships haven't changed either.
Okay, so these days, we're all carrying supercomputers in our hands, like those of us that work in journalism, and we've got more computing power on these little devices than when it's on the original space shuttle, right?
Right.
And these days we work in truly, no matter what market you're in, a 24-hour news cycle. We're meant to capture everything, put it on social media, particularly Facebook, as fast as possible.
Right.
But way back in the day, for those, for old school guys like us, you were one of the few news anchors back then who actually had deep technical chops, because you had a side project. You'd shoot weddings and everything, so you shot, you understood composition, and you understood editing.
Yeah, in fact,
so you were a triple threat.
Yeah, in fact, I was one of the very first people to use Final Cut Pro in Guam, the actual Apple technology that's, I think, is being used probably right now to edit some of this on the air, what you see on the newscast, KGTF, and a lot of now everyone's using it. They're teaching it at GCC, but I was the first person on a blue and white G3 to use the first version of Final Cut Pro. And
the Blueberry iMac.
Yeah, and I remember it was I think it was one of the other production companies said, "Oh, I got the sample version." I'm like, that's not using it, and they were using a machine that was probably 10 times more expensive than what I had. But today we're all using it everywhere. Now I even have it on my laptop on a MacBook Pro, so it tells you that even today we're still using that technology.
Well, now kind of being from the outside looking in, but you're still an active member, and you support journalism, you support the principles and the ethics, but it's such a different animal than the last time we worked together on a day-to-day basis and everything like that. What are your thoughts on how much social media has permeated the art of storytelling and of chronicling, everything that happens around here every day?
Jay, I would tell you that
everybody's a journalist these days.
Yeah, and I would tell you this. First off, it is important for everyone to remember that this has always been. I think today it's really a young man's game, even though we're not so young. But holding cameras and running around and getting those news stories, younger folks, and it's still a great profession. Don't get me wrong. But just trying to keep pace with the technology and the like, man, you got to be on your toes. But for the use of social media, it's changed the complexion of how everyone does news gathering. And I'm a purist, right? So when I think of the big four in Guam, well, it's for a long time it was just the big two. It was the PDN and KUAM. Our competition, we kind of snuffed them out after a while. but over time, others have evolved, and now you got the big four, and they're doing their jobs. I think newsrooms are doing their best to be as objective as they used to be. They're trying. Those values are not lost, and the quality of the enterprising of stories, it's still there. And it's just storytelling, taking storytelling to a new, I guess, modern way, using Facebook and all the like. It's going to keep. I think it's going to grow. But print might be a little bit different, and and I'm not saying it's bad, but I think these things are starting to change because of social media and all of the technology.
Well, before we go to our first break, I want to ask you. You've done a variety of jobs. Like you said, you worked in the public sector in a couple different roles now. You've been an instructor at the University of Guam teaching communications. You've actually run your own businesses, at least two of them that I know of.
Yes.
Do you miss the grind, though, of the day-to-day doing the reporter and the hustle and, the 12-minute lunch hours? And
I would be lying saying that I don't. I do miss it. I really do.
Yeah, it is something that stays with you forever.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we are just beginning our conversation with Shawn Gumataotao on an absolutely gorgeous and slightly overcast day right here on KUM. Keep your hands on 10 and 2 because we're coming back right after this.
Buy with confidence. It's the Triple J Advantage. 1 year maintenance, 1 year tire and rim protection, key replacement, and $700 coupon book with every new vehicle purchase. Only at Triple J. Customers first. Buy with confidence. It's the Triple J Advantage. 1 year maintenance, 1 year tire and rim protection, key replacement, and $700 coupon book with every new vehicle purchase. Only at Triple J. Customers first.
Continuing our discussion with a good friend, Shawn Gumataotao, who's been gracious to hang out with us twice now on back-to-back days here.
Remember jump cut. That's a technical term because I was wearing the wrong thing, and I didn't get the memo. So.
The GoPro gods are being friendly to us today.
He's got quite a number of these, and I can't keep up.
Well, we're rolling through the island's capital right now.
Yep.
Actually, you used to live in this village
That's right.
with your family when your children were very young.
Yeah,
what was that like?
Living in Antigua, there was, in Agania, there's not very many residents, so it's just us. But in the capital city, this is where my family's from. We came here. My understanding is turn of the century. So to be part of it, living in Antigua, it was hard to move as my family was growing. But I am now a proud son of Southern Guam, living in Talafofo in God's country and raising all my kids there. It's been truly a blessing.
It helps to send your kids to Notre Dame when you're right down the street.
And Talafofo Elementary, so they're all in the same village. I know where they're at, so they can't go far.
As we come up on Adelup, we're going to actually pull into here and everything. But after you left KUAM, part of what you did was you served in the Camacho administration.
That's right.
What was that like? Because those were times rich, as Governor Camacho would be quick to say, ripe with opportunity. But there was also, nationally we were coming off 9/11. Later on in the governor's tenure, we had the 2008 financial crisis nationally and everything, and all that stuff tends to bubble down and everything. So, never the same day twice for you.
No, that's right. And as we roll into the complex, remember, we were coming off of 2 major storms. In fact, people were almost writing all of us off, including our friends in broadcast, saying, "Oh, you guys are devastated." But we didn't get to come to Adelup until almost 2 years into the administration. Remember, we were downtown in the Pacific News Building for almost a year. But it was a privilege.
In either case, not a bad view. Look at that.
My office, I didn't have. In all fairness to all my friends, I had a really horrible location of office.
Facing a brick wall, or?
Yes, in fact, I had, or it was what they call the aquarium. Even as deputy chief of staff to the governor, my office wasn't exactly all fancy, and I had to. But we're not there for fancy. We're there to get to work. But it is a great place to work, and it's such great memories working for Governor Camacho, and all, the privilege of serving. And I would encourage young people to remember that if you get asked to serve, man, just do it. It's such a great experience, and I got to be at the doorstep of history many times.
Well, speaking of which, I'm just going to pause here
for a second. Speaking of the doorstep to Adelup.
Yeah, we are at the footsteps, as it were, literally across from the governor's office. So what would you say would be the lasting legacy of Governor Camacho's administration and some of your best memories having worked for him?
I would say that Governor Camacho's accomplishments where he built new schools, and there's no question that he did more to build new schools for this community than any governor previously. He was also very instrumental in kind of the changing of the guard of how we look at even utilities, from the port to the power, water, the like. Its modernization, which I guess the big lasting legacy will be he was the one who started the Guam military buildup. And in fact, he was the one who said, hey, it's going to happen, support it, but remember, it's got to be manageable for our community, because when you have a program of over I think now it's like almost $10 billion now, you got to make sure that the community is not overwhelmed. But I would say those are his accomplishments.
Okay, and then you moved on, of course, to the court. Your transition was UOG. I mean, I've always said
back in the private sector in UOG, yes.
You would consider UOG private? I mean,
yeah, well, no, I mean, remember, I have my small business still, and so I work for my boss, who's my wife, and hi Trish, and
hi Trish,
and so we started that small business after a stint at another job, and man, then I kept with the UOG and doing some cool stuff with KUAM. I think in the elections and being a political analyst for KUAM was pretty fun too.
Again, man, this view is insane. I'm trying to watch all
we're going
the cars
block,
here.
By the way. Yeah, and so I used to walk out, and I guess and I was told early on not to take this view for granted, because at some point you will have to say goodbye to it. So just enjoy every bit of it.
Don't get too attached.
Yeah, because I mean, and I come up here, I think this is probably only since in the new administration, maybe only the 3rd or 4th time. In the previous administration, I think I came up to Adelup maybe 1 time. So,
oh wow!
And that was, I can't remember what it was for, but it was maybe once. But I drive by and I have great memories here at Adelup.
Certainly the Laddy of Freedom is an amazing landmark. Right there.
Yeah. In fact, getting a chance to help build the place, it was cool. I mean, it's not like the Ricky Berdallo, let's put us in the middle of Tumon and be the 9th wonder of the world, but it was something that Madeline Berdallo and their foundation were able to build, and it's a great landmark now. It's good. It really kind of complements the area here.
Okay, I got to tell you, Shawn, like we're going through these winding curves here as we went around the Laddy of Freedom. This 2020 Mazda 3 is handling this incredibly well. It's almost as if I'm not driving. I am, by the way. No, I'm paying attention. obeying a speed limit, observing all the rules of the road and everything like that. But this thing handles amazingly.
No, actually, on the turns, it's so nice, man. And the what do you call that? The suspension is really, really good. I mean, this GoPro is working, but not as much as this car is. This suspension is awesome.
Yeah, so you can actually get this right now at Triple J. I may have to pick up one of these because this is nice. Okay, real quickly before we go into our next break. So you went from the executive branch to the judicial branch now.
Yes.
And at the court system, a branch of GovGuam that's always prided itself on being very progressive, staying on the cusp of technology, and really trying to do what's right, like for the people of Guam. But that inherently comes with a great many challenges.
Yeah, exactly. I think folks will think that, having technology in the courts, it does provide access to people, but remember, that access does come at a cost, and it was Governor Camacho's administration. We were able to get money for the courts to get them their case management system that we're really, it's what we use every day, but we're looking at other things down the road, and it's going to be resource heavy, but I think there's a willingness by people of the court to make that change, and we're kind of excited what the future will bring, even though it won't come as fast as many would like, but I think technology is a big part of what we do today.
And again, you got a heck of a view, man. You're a lucky guy. You've had some really nice workplaces.
Yeah, my view is a little bit different at the judiciary. I get to watch everybody come in and make sure everyone's behaving themselves when they come in, but it's good.
Okay, well, tell you what, bro, because one thing, as long as I've known you, is you've been a passionate sports fan and you don't back down for your opinion. So when we come back with Cruising with KUAM with my buddy Shawn Gumataotao, we are going to talk about sports and we are not going to hold anything back. So please stay tuned. We're on the road, rolling through again on Cruising with KUAM.
Buy with confidence. It's the Triple J Advantage. 1 year maintenance, 1 year tire and rim protection, key replacement, and $700 coupon book with every new vehicle purchase. Only at Triple J. Customers first. Buy with confidence. It's the Triple J Advantage. 1 year maintenance, 1 year tire and rim protection, key replacement, and $700 coupon book with every new vehicle purchase. Only at Triple J. Customers first.
Okay, here we are once again, Shawn and Jace on a gorgeous day on Guam, rolling through Anigua right now. We're passing the federal court, even though you work at the local court system. But, yeah, we covered your time in the government, blah, blah, blah. We did that. You have been sports from day one, since I met you and everything like that. We would have extensive conversations. We would laugh. We would get into it just like about sports. And I don't know if I've ever met a more passionate fan, and not just of Bay Area sports, but particularly of Oakland sports, where you grew up.
Absolutely. I live down the road from the Oakland Coliseum, and I used to watch the fireworks from the roof of my parents' house, or we went to the games all the time, and spent a lot of summers watching the Oakland A's, and I'm a huge fan, and
Does 89 still sting?
Yes, it does. If Kirk Gibson didn't hit that dinger off of Dennis Eckersley, I think I would have been a different person today.
On one leg.
I was traumatized since that moment, and I'm a little taken aback. That was hurtful, man.
Mm-hmm.
When I see the video and he's doing all his fist pump,
And you've got a lot of good memories actually going to the Coliseum. I know you went to Raiders games when they were still in Oakland, right?
You know what? I did get a chance to go to the Raiders.
But now you're a Niners fan.
I've been a Niners fan since those guys pulled out. Actually, I thank God to my brother who had season tickets. That's the time I went to watch the Raiders. But otherwise, I was just like, man, these guys, man. 1981, they left. I left, became a Niner fan, and it's okay because Bay Area sports fans they're kind of fickle, right? Fickle when it comes to how they want to look at their favorite team. But I'm not a big Traders fan. Those guys are down in Las Vegas. I'm sure everyone's happy about that now.
Okay, so since you are a Niners fan, are you? And you only have to pick one. Are you Joe Montana or Steve Young?
Joe Montana.
Jerry Rice or Terrell Owens?
Jerry Rice.
Most people would say that.
Because I have a jersey, and I even have a photo at home when he made the catch when he broke Jim Brown's record.
Yep.
But I have both photos. I have the one from the front when he caught the touchdown, and then one from behind that showed the entire. I was watching it. Was Candlestick Park. Never forget. That was such a Monday night game.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great. I was at that game actually.
Okay. Roger Craig or Ricky Waters?
Roger Craig.
All right. Yeah, I would say so too. High stepper. Yeah, that's a true fan right there.
Yes.
Okay, so Anybody ever want to talk sports with Shawn, he is more than willing. But the one thing that I know really solidified our friendship 20 years ago was we would talk sports all the time. We talk baseball, we talk football, we even talk hockey sometimes, talk a lot of Warriors basketball.
Right.
But you are probably the most passionate and knowledgeable fan of pro wrestling that I've ever been. Your pro wrestling game is strong.
I started watching WTBS. A beautiful thing that my dad was in the cable industry. So when, which for you that might remember Georgia Championship Wrestling, it was the precursor to TBS and the whole WCW. But I watched it and I loved every minute of it. Every Saturday afternoon, I watched AWA though. Saturday mornings.
Ooh, that was good.
It wasn't exactly the same. I will tell you that best part of AWA was its Mid-South wrestling. That was some of the rockinest wrestling matches.
Now see, that's a true fan. That's hardcore.
Hey, come on, Mid-South wrestling for AWA, that had some of the greatest matches, but nothing beats the NWA and Georgia Championship Wrestling at the time.
Because you ask some people who say, oh yeah, I'm a pro wrestling fan, and they're like, yeah, I know Hulk Hogan, I know Junkyard Dog, I know Iron Sheik and everything. But Shawn and I would sit there for hours, literally after work, talking about, the Fabulous Freebirds, the Rock and Roll Express, the old Road Warriors.
Oh, okay. Now the Road Warriors, we've talked about this many times. One of my favorite tag team pairings of all time.
Okay, and I'm going to bring up a debate that we have had for many, many years. We've even gotten into it very aggressively, so on many occasions. Take the Road Warriors in their prime, Hawk and Animal in their time, in their prime, against the British Bulldogs in their prime. Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid. Who you got?
I've said it many times, Jay. We've had this. The Road Warriors in their prime,
and I've disagreed with you many times.
Yes, but I will tell you, nothing bad about the British Bulldogs. But I tell you, the Road Warriors just at their prime just decimated tag teams. I mean, Rock and Roll Express is a good example. I mean, when they were beating everybody up. I think it was Jay Youngblood and Ricky Steamboat. When they were those battles with them, when they won the NWA Tag Team Championships, they went against the Funks, they went against the Briscoes, but the Road Warriors pretty much creamed everybody, especially at that time.
Yeah, and you and I have actually talked about the Von Erichs too.
But the Von Erichs were good too. But man, they also got cleaned up by the Road. I don't think they ever saw anything like that. And I think even the old man Von Erich was almost about to go to tears when the Road Warriors were kicking their butt. Mm-hmm. And so you can tell that it was a changing of the guard, and basically the tag team wrestling the way they did. I enjoyed my share of double cage matches in Oakland, California at the Kaiser Convention Center. It was fun stuff.
That would be nice.
Fun stuff.
So you're not only a fan, you're also a active participant of sport.
Yes.
You played football, you wrestled,
yes.
You were a wrestling official
almost 18
for many years.
Yes.
Do you pass this down to your kids and say, okay, this was part of my upbringing, it's taught me a great many lessons that made me a positive person. You have to play sports, or do you just say, find your own path? If you want to paint, you can paint. If you want to, make music, you can do that.
Well, it's interesting, Jay, because I've been coaching soccer since 2001, and so when that was my entry getting back into soccer, I hadn't played soccer since I was 16 years old. So, and I've been playing soccer on Guam since 2009. Which, by the way, the game saved my life because of being more active. Mm-hmm. But for my kids, sports is an important part of it. That's my way of being with them. You have club sports, club soccer, so we're at the field together. My older daughters played at Notre Dame. I'm a big Notre Dame soccer fan.
You're back up in Harmon, right up the street from us at the Jamboree every Saturday.
Every Saturday, you'll see me or hear me yelling at kids, which I have every. And don't get me wrong, I do more for theatrics, right? I watch a lot of pro wrestling too, right? So the idea is if you get them laughing and yelling, they think here's about our crazy coach. But I'm an AFCC certified coach, so we got give him good quality training, and our club, the Shipyard Wolverines, we take that and I'm very proud of that effort, and it's my way of being with everybody and my kids, so it's a good thing.
Oh, very cool. Okay, so we are going to hang a Yui here, so we are going to take another break, head back down and drop Shawn back at work because he's got more work to do for the good people of Guam. When Cruising with KUAM continues right here in this beautiful 2020 Mazda 3, which is handling amazingly well. This car has so much technology in it.
Oh man.
You got location services, you got
the aircon.
You got integration with Android Auto, with the iOS features if you want to use in-car system. So go check this out at Triple J. We are going to be back right after this.
Buy with confidence. It's the Triple J Advantage. 1 year maintenance, 1 year tire and rim protection, key replacement, and $700 coupon book with every new vehicle purchase. Only at Triple J. Customers first. Buy with confidence. It's the Triple J Advantage. 1 year maintenance, 1 year tire and rim protection, key replacement, and $700 coupon book with every new vehicle purchase. Only at Triple J. Customers first.
All right, heading into the home stretch, as it were, and a wonderful discussion with Shawn Gumataotao. You know, we ended the last segment talking about your family. You yourself grew up in Guam. Your roots are here. You're aware of the history of our people and your culture. You've passed that down to your kids too, but you've also told them, go to school, you know, off island if you wish. You know, broaden your horizons, get a wider worldview. What is it like for you and your wife to be able to give, you know, your kids that kind of dual opportunity?
I would tell you that because both of us, again, spent time in the U.S. mainland. I've been here on Guam longer than I was growing up in my own house and living in the U.S. mainland. But my wife and I, when we first had our first daughter, we said, we want to raise our kids here, the values, the whole 9 yards about growing up in Guam, give them pride in it. Obviously, they're in college off island, hi girls, hi Los and Amara. They understand it, and they always know that they can always come home. But to get away from Guam, to learn and do something, learn something new, maybe bring it home. With our other kids, that's the same path for them, and our family ascribes by it, obviously.
How has it been raising your kids in this era? You know, like the Guam that you and I knew, that we were growing up in. You know, I mean, it's so cliche to say all the time, but it really is true. You know, you could leave your screen door unlocked when we were there. I mean, there's still the sense of family, our neighbors, we look out for each other, but Guam's different, society's different, values are different, and everything like that. Like, what's it like to actually raise a family on Guam in the modern day?
Well, you know,
where Facebook is everything.
Yeah, well, I'm at the judiciary every day, so I see magistrate reports, and I think about crime, and I see the different types of crime that are happening. But it's a debate in my household about that unlocking of doors and the like, and I still ascribe, believe it or not, to knowing that, you know, our neighbors are our family too, and you know, and I would tell you that am I hypersensitive? Yes, but I try to remind my kids that you know, there are values in our village and in Telefofo and in God's country and what we do, we should, you know, embrace it. If we spend all our time living thinking, oh, someone's gonna sack my stuff inside the carport or what, man, living in fear is just not a good thing, and the kids will then may not want to stay here. They may want to go somewhere else where they feel might be safer. But the more and more we can encourage kids to know that, hey, our island is actually not too bad, hopefully it'll spread so people don't really get into other people's things and business, and that's just a value system that we just have to try to share with our kids and our friends' kids and our families and the like.
Okay. Your oldest daughters are college age right now. They're getting ready to finish.
Cal State University, East Bay.
Oh, they did not go to your alma mater.
No,
they did not go to Bakersfield.
No, they didn't go far. They wanted to stay closer to their grandparents. Which is
okay.
Good.
No, which is wonderful. But you and your wife, I'm quite sure. I've never had this conversation with you, but I'm sure you're looking forward to being a grandparent too.
Nah, I'm no rushing with that. But then, you know, we have to raise our kids, get them understanding the values, and then set them free, let them do whatever we're gonna do. But we're gonna support them. I'm not in a rush. Thank God.
What does the future hold for you?
I'm still doing what I do. You know, I actually, you know what? It's interesting. Someone asked me.
The Shawn Gumataotao I know has never not had a 5-year plan.
No, and so I'm just right now enjoying what I'm doing, and then sometimes you know, God has His way of doing things with us. But He also but you know, opportunity knocks and something different. But I mean, I'm enjoying what I'm doing at the judiciary. You know, we have 400 employees. We have an important mandate, you know, to ensure that we.
I didn't realize the judiciary had that many.
Yeah, we're at 400 employees, and
that's like the size of one of the telecom companies.
Yeah, but also like they say, like, you know, is everything bad? No, we got some good stuff that happens there. I mean, you know, we have a language assistance program that helps a lot of people. We know they do weddings. We take care of things for people for their jobs. It's just it's a great place to work, and being privileged to serve 2 branches. Not many people, Jay, have ever done that, and that's probably why I like it so much. Because man, I never would have thunk, honestly, that I'd be doing this for the courts and doing 2 branches. To do 3 would be amazing, but for me, that's I can't even think of that right now.
I got to tell you, I don't know if you made the conscious decision to create like a little brand about yourself, like on Facebook, because we've been Facebook friends since Facebook came out. But you always begin each of your Facebook posts with Hafaday and welcome to Paradise Guam.
Yes.
And you've made a name for yourself kind of as like this, travel journalist and everything like that. You take a lot of pictures, you shoot a lot of video with you and your family when you go. What's it like for you to actually promote Guam wherever you go? I mean, obviously you don't work for GVB, but you're doing a hell of a job.
No, I think like I'll wear my Guam branded stuff, and people ask, and then also, but for my kids especially, they get to see a different parts of the region or the world. But then I remind them, like, be fortunate for the things you have. But no, I love taking pictures when we're out and about. My friends who are probably watching this right now too off island, they appreciate it because they're just like,
I would love to read some of those comments.
Yeah, but it's almost like a novelty at times. I know when to do it, and I just might remind myself and them, like, hey, it's all good. But at least when I type it, it's always a good feeling, and then share whatever's happening.
And I got to tell you, everybody watching us right now, including his friends and his parents,
guys.
It's not shtick, it's not, it's not just some, some tagline just to, get a few more Instagram likes and everything like that. Shawn, as long as I've known him, has the passion and the love for Guam in his heart, and that's absolutely genuine. So, man, so we are gonna head back into, again, I tell you what, we've got this amazing 2020 Mazda 3. We're the first 2 people outside of the Triple J staff to actually drive this. You know what I want to do? I want to test the Bose car system on this. We're gonna play some music that we couldn't put on Facebook.
Karaoke me, are you?
No, we're gonna go. And Shawn,
I could do it.
We weren't able to get around to. Okay, Shawn is a fan of 2 big musical acts that I know. He loves Metallica, and he loves Barry Manilow. It contrasts, but it's good. Diametrically opposed. So we're gonna blast the Metallica right now, which we can't do on Facebook because they're gonna kill the stream and everything. But man, thanks a lot, man. Always good to see you.
Thanks everybody, and thank you Triple J for allowing us to get in this sweet ride.
Yeah, good catching up with you. And
and hope it's not my last time on cruising with KUAM.
Yeah, no, definitely we're doing take 2 for this episode. The next time we'll have a fresh episode, I guarantee.
That'll work.
Okay, keep your hands on 10 and 2. Obey the speed limit, everybody.
That's right.
We'll see you on the road. Take care. Bye-bye.